60 Minutes Overtime.
This week on 60 Minutes, we reported on the rising number of Chinese migrants at the U.S. southern border. We visited the area, which is a break in the border fence near Yakumba Hot Springs, California.
Every person, every human being has the legal right to come to the United States and seek asylum or shelter.
China? 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 Where are you? China? China? China?
San Vicente, first of all, it's not a town. This is a camp that is built as a transit camp. It's built of containers and various objects to house people. And it is almost entirely Chinese.
Hi. Hi, China? 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 China?
These Chinese folks who are overwhelmingly male, military age.
¿Dónde vienen? China? China? ¿Dónde vienes?
China? You speak English? China? China?
I hear the sweet sound of freedom, and I won't be long.
China, 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 invasion, invasion, China, invasion, invasion, China, invasion on the border, China, invasion, China on the border. That is the point I'm trying to get across tonight in this episode. And in case you think I'm not serious, I'm serious about getting over to you, the viewing audience. China invasion, border invasion of China. Okay, and this is not a slam on Chinese ethnicity. Don't even go there. It ain't gonna work. Hello, everybody. It's Everett with Ohio for Freedom. Oh, my goodness. Do you ever feel like, you have an understanding of something, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, and then you stumble across something and you go, oh, my gracious sakes, I didn't even really see it like that. That's how I'm feeling about the China invasion. So I'm going to say it again, China invasion. Now, I've got the receipts. Folks, I've got way more stuff than I can get through, and I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to move fast. I am doing a pre-record, so I may hit the pause buttons. Oh, you may see a jerk when we come back or something like that, and that would prove your suspicions that, yes, this guy really is a jerk. That would be correct. But listen. All right, I'm going to set it up this way. The narrative. We have been in such an overwhelming narrative, psyop, psycho-spiritual narrative battle over the last 3 years, but I want to bring your thought process about our border into focus. We are under an invasion. This is not a surge. This is not a swell. This is not a broken immigration system. We are in a full frontal assault on our southern border. And there is, yes, a strong Chinese component to that. I'm going to take the time to say this, and we're going to jump right in. I grew up in Defiance, Ohio. Defiance is in Northwest Ohio, very rural area, and there used to be a huge General Motors plant. Now, this is just the fact. Back in the day, before I was born, it's great farm country also, but migrant workers, primarily from Mexico, would do migrant work during the summer season, and that was just a part of life. But over time, when that General Motors factory opened up, many of those Mexican migrants would get hired on and become citizens and contributing parts of the community. And I grew up with lots and lots of Mexican friends. I really am not aware of racism ever being any kind of a deal whatsoever in my upbringing. And so even to this day, the narrative about our border would be, well, you have, Lupe and Roberto and Jose, they come over and they work doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do, according to Mr. Bush. And then they go home, and that's how they take care of their families. But folks, that is not what is happening on the border. Now, I published the video of the dream that I had. I perceive that it's from the Lord, with the plants and with the weapons underneath, and with the ribbed icon that represented the border wall, and the conversation from Afghanistan to the Middle East. And folks, we're going to go through some information tonight that I believe is going to give you some receipts. But can we just be honest about something here? We know that we have terrorist cells in the United States. And we know that ever since the faux Joe Biden regime has been able to have the control that they have ripped our borders wide open. We have an invasion of the Majorca sites. We know that. But I want to kind of bring this into even greater and greater clarity. And so I have a couple things I want to get out of the way. Please like, please share, please subscribe, smash all the buttons that you can smash, and hit the this and hit the that. And okay, first of all, I'm going to describe the invasion that we have, and we're going to spend a lot of time on the Chinese contingency. And I want you to think of it like this. There are at least four main components to the invasion that's going on, besides our government complicity. The people that are actively doing the invading, there's basically four groups. First of all, there's the cartel. Nobody gets across this border without entering into a blood covenant with the cartel. We're going to deal with that in just a minute. Number two, you have economic opportunists, people that they're just coming here to better their economic life. I do not give those people a pass. That doesn't mean that I hate them, but I do not give them a pass. Number two, and then next, we have Islamic jihadists, and we're going to give you just a little bit of receipts of that. And then this is fairly new. The awareness of it is fairly new with me, but the Chinese contingency of economic opportunists, but also there's a militant stealth combatant component that is very, very unsettling. And so here's what I'm going to do before, and I've got a lot of video that I got to get through, but I want to, first of all, in response to the dream that I have, I'm just going to get this out of the way. There were basically overwhelmingly positive comments. People get this, and I feel like we've struck a nerve. And by the way, in case I forget, I'll say it now. Call your congressman, call your senator, email your congressman, email your senator, and tell them to shut the border. Stop it. Create a border. Stop this invasion right now. But the three negative, and there weren't very many, but they did fall into three categories. The first would be something like, oh, I don't believe in dreams. You're stupid. You're dumb and you're ugly. Brother, I already know I'm dumb and ugly, so you're not very bright for pointing that out. Number two, I don't know if I'd so much call this as a troll reaction, but I did get a little bit of consistent Christian defeatism, and they would, well, you know, Klaus Schwab, and you know this, and you know that, and this is going to happen, and the Bible, you know, my Bible tells me that we win. Okay, we win, and we're going to win this. So I do not subscribe to Christian defeatism. And then the third would be what I would call a misapplication of scripture. One snarky troller said, you guys are all the same. You cherry pick the scriptures that fit your narrative. What about Leviticus 33? When a foreigner resides with you in your land, you must not oppress him. You must treat the foreigner living among you as native born. And if you don't do that, then you're just a right wing, whatever it is that I am. And I would say to that person, there's a difference between a foreigner and an invader. And there's a difference between someone that is lawful and someone that is unlawful. So touche. I just won that one. Let me describe this. There are economic opportunists, people that simply, they just want to better their economic life. Okay. Do we give those people a pass? Well, I give them some understanding because they have literally been invited in by the Fojo regime. Our government is funding NGOs that are helping them, buying tickets, doing all kind of things, flooding airports, sending them here, sending them there. It's totally out of control. You already know that. But before I get to the Chinese stuff and before I get to the Islamic Jihad stuff, I want to deal with this group that I'm going to call economic opportunists, because they are the massive size horde the influx of just sheer human bodies that provide cover and camouflage. What it is, it's like you have a sheep population that is so large, you can actually have wolf populations, 2 of them that I'm going to talk about within that larger sheep population, that go undetected. And the wolves aren't there for the sheep that are coming in. They're there for you, and they're there for you, and they're there for me. But I do, pardon me, I do want to deal with this. I want to tell you how I feel about the economic opportunists that are entering our country illegally. I got about 4 things. And all of these are so basic, they're like, duh. If you look up the definition of duh, it's going to be the things that I'm going to say because it's so elementary and so simple. But I'm going to say them anyway. Number 1, illegals are willing to break the law. And when you break the law, that is a criminal act. And I'm going to ask you this. I have a good friend from Canada. He's on a long vacation in Brazil. He's sending me videos of him, going on a dirt bike and bicycle ride and going all through the Brazilian countryside. But if he got up to the border of one of the neighboring countries and a tour guide said, that road right down there, a mile from here, you can be in San wherever, And what if my friend were to say, I think I'm going to ride over there? I don't think he would do that. Why? Because it's illegal. How apt would you be to illegally enter a country? It's illegal. It's criminal. Number 2, it's not just a simple, small criminal thing. The economic opportunists that are coming to our country, they're willing to commit to an all-encompassing illegal act. You've got to commit time, money. You've got to get all of your relationships involved. You have to enter into multiple agreements to pull off your criminal act. The scripture says that lust, when it has conceived, it brings forth sin. It talks about a process. And I'm sorry, it is a sin to enter the United States illegally. And then I've never heard anybody really talk about this, so I guess I'll be the one to talk about it. And these might be nice people. And what I'm going to talk about right here, they probably don't realize, but all of the economic opportunists that are coming to take a bite out of the American apple and get a slice of the American pie, and they're doing it illegally, they are entering into a covenant with the forces of evil and entering into a criminal conspiracy. Because, folks, nobody gets over that border without doing business with the cartels that are killing us with fentanyl, the cartels that are involved in human trafficking and the sex slaving of children and women, and probably some men. But this is one of the most evil groups of people on the planet. And when you enter into an agreement with them, now, if you're a female, you're probably going to be raped, but I'll set that aside. But there is a spiritual component to that. And these people will come in here and they've entered into a covenant with evil. And there are spiritual ramifications of that, even if otherwise they would be the nicest person in the world. And I'm going to say something else. Those that will enter the United States illegally have demonstrated a few things. See, I'm not going to give all these folks a pass. I know they want to work. They want to improve their lot. But here's what they've proven. They have proven a lack of commitment to improving society. So I'm not going to assume, and you hear all of this false narrative, we have benefited from the contributions and the energy and the innovation. Hey, a lot of immigrants come here and they do very, very, very well. And for the most part, they do it for themselves. Okay. And it's okay to better yourself economically, but they're not committed to improving society because they left the society that they could be committed to improving. See, what's happening in America right now is we're being challenged. Oh, we're being challenged big time. But you see, the patriots, the Christians, especially the Christians and the patriots, are finding each other, banding together, praying together, because we are not going to give up our country, because we are committed to bettering our country. And I would suggest to you, I will state to you that people that come here illegally have demonstrated that is a quality they don't have. Yeah, but conditions are a lot tougher in, just name the country out of the whole 190 of them that they're coming from. Things are a lot tougher there. Okay. Things have been tough in America before. And what is the spirit of America done? It's dug down deep and it's made this a better country. And that is a quality that someone cannot say that they possess if they will come and covenant with the forces of darkness to enter our country illegally. But this great big horde of people provides all of the cover for the next two groups that we're going to talk about. And we're going to spend just a little bit of time talking about the Islamic jihadists. Now, this clip is very, very short, so let me get it out of the way, then we'll talk about it. Here we go.
So I just had a conversation with a Denver police officer at the airport, and we were talking about the crime that's going on, not only in Denver, but our country. And he says, the media will not tell you this. I'm not even supposed to talk about this, but I don't care anymore. We've arrested, the Denver police in Denver has arrested over 50 Al-Qaeda members in the last 2 months.
You believe him? I believe him. I absolutely believe him. I absolutely believe he had that conversation with that Denver police officer. And I believe that that Denver police officer told him that they have arrested 50 Al-Qaeda members in the last couple months. And I forget who I heard say this. We don't have sleeper cells of terrorists in the United States. No, we have fully awake terror cells in the United States. The problem is we just don't know who and where they are. Take a look at this clip and see how this hits you.
Hola, ¿de dónde son? Mexico? Where are you from? Egypt. Holy cow, don't listen to him. Egypt, huh? Okay, where in America? New York. Okay.
That's Ben Berquam. Go to his Twitter page if you want some documentation of the invasion. But you could hear the surprise in his voice. These guys have a skin tone that you would think, okay, these guys are Hispanic, these guys are Central or South American. And so when he says, "Donde está?" and they look at him like, what are you talking about? And he finds out they're from Egypt, you can literally hear the surprise in Ben Berquam's. Now, all of these people are going to have to look an immigration official in the eye and try to convince them. They're going to, and let's just be honest, they're going to lie to them and convince them that they're fleeing persecution, that their life is in danger. Do you really think those gentlemen, those young men, those young military-age men from Egypt, do you think their life is in danger? I do not believe their life is in danger. Why are they here? Why are they here? Why have they illegally entered our country? And I'm sorry, they come. If there's a jihadi contingency, it might be them. There's other stories. I think let me see. I think I got a slide here, and this is just to show that we have, that we got some receipts and we got some documentation. Number of people on terrorist watch list stopped at southern border has risen, so we know they're there. So I'm going to leave the Islamic jihadist contingency alone for a bit. I'm going to play this clip, and I just want you to now we're going to talk about the Chinese invasion.
Every human being, every human being has the legal right to come to the United States and seek asylum or shelter.
China? 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 Where are you? China? China.
Okay, some of that was from our opener. Now, I think most of the people that you just saw there would fit into the category of economic opportunists. But let's be clear about one thing. Nobody leaves China without the CCP knowing it. And nobody leaves China without the CCP remaining in contact with them. And how many cases have we seen over the last couple of years where you find out that Chinese students, they are basically forced into an agreement that they basically have to function as spies to back home to the CCP, or their families back home can be subject to all kind of terrible things. But these people, I would believe probably most of them are here just They're just here for a better life. Yeah, they just want a better life at the expense of the American taxpayer. Now, I'm going to just play this clip and then we're going to talk
What I was
about
going
it.
to tell you about the fact that this migration doesn't appear to me to be just one thing is that we went to another camp called San Vicente. And everything in San Vicente is different than it was at Canaan Mambria. San Vicente, first of all, it's not a town. This is a camp that is built as a transit camp. It's built of containers and various objects to house people. And it is almost entirely Chinese. Now, there were Chinese folks. Chinese.
That's a long way from China.
It sure is. And
Okay, we're going to stop right there. So that's Brett Weinstein, who recently took a trip with Michael Yan to the Darien Gap, which is that huge rainforest, very dangerous area between Panama and Colombia. For the most part, people fly into Quito, Ecuador, work their way up through the edge of Colombia, and then they get to the Darien Gap. And they have to cross through the Darien Gap before they can then go through Panama and get up into Mexico. And so Brett Weinstein and Michael Yan visited several of these camps where people will hang out for a few days and get ready to take the rest of the trip. And they were able to go in and talk and interview and speak with people and just basically document what was going on. But when they encountered San Vicente, the Panamanian Border Patrol, there was a name that he mentioned, I can't recall it, would not let them enter the camp. Now think about this. There's something going on here. Panamanian border officials would not let them enter San Vicente, the Chinese camp, and they were not allowed to photograph the Chinese camp. Now they took photographs and video covertly, but why? What's up with that they're not allowed to do that? So they were able to speak to a few of the male members of this camp, this way station, and he goes on to say that they were hostile and they were very secretive. And I'll probably play the clip in a moment, but one of them tried to pass himself as a Korean. Well, why would you do that unless you got something to hide? Michael Yan tripped him up, got him to speak in Chinese and outed himself. But folks, this is what is happening with our border. I'm going to play the next clip. I think I'm going to play the next clip.
What's more, there was an incident where Michael,
there we go,
who has lived in China, he's been all over the world, and he started up or tried to start up a conversation with a guy who claimed to be from Korea. And Michael tripped him up and got him to speak Chinese. And then there was uproarious laughter at the fact that he had tried to pull this caper on Michael. So it is not a friendly migration.
Okay, and you can tell that Brett Weinstein is not a hair on fire, wild, crazy guy. He's pretty low key. This had a profound effect on him. Why are these military-aged male Chinese, why are they secretive? What are they hiding? What is their agenda? And then he revealed this. I'm going to show you a piece of video that many of these Chinese people have on their phones, and there's happy Chinese music. I'll let it speak for itself, and then we'll talk about it.
Which I can't establish the origin of, but it is a Chinese cartoon set to happy music of a migrant moving through Central America, changing modes of transportation, and it basically indicates here's the route you will travel. Now, was it produced by the CCP? I can't be certain of that, but that certainly is suggested that this is a message about how to make this journey. For what purpose, I don't know. But I do not believe that the people I encountered had left China without the knowledge of their government.
All right, so that piece of video is, who do you think produced that? And why is that on all these Chinese phones? Folks, does this look to you like an organized effort? Does this look to you, and with the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative and all the inroads that they've made throughout Central and South America, does it pass the smell test that this is not an invasion? It is an invasion. And until recently, I haven't heard anybody talk about the Chinese contingency of it. And then just in the opening clip that I played, evidently it was from 60 Minutes. I believe it was from just last night. But even 60 Minutes is reporting on the massive numbers of illegals that are, what was it? I can't pronounce the name of whatever that town is near San Diego. But even 60 Minutes is beginning to, folks, are we ever going to wake up and realize that we're an invasion? There's an Islamic jihadist component of it, and there's a Chinese stealth combatant component. I got at least one more clip that I want to play.
Chinese folks who are overwhelmingly male, military age. There are women present. I realized only this morning that in thinking back, I saw few, if any, children in the Chinese migration. They were everywhere in the other places we visited, but they were not present, as far as I remember, in the San Vicente camp. So what I have pieced together, and this is a place where I'm going to speculate. This is a hypothesis. This is not a conclusion. But what I began to suspect was that the Chinese migration is actually being cloaked by the economic migration coming from South America, and that is consistent with the observation that it has some different motivation. Now, I learned from Michael that the Chinese migrants in the San Vicente camp largely bypassed the Darien. Because they have money, they can go by boat and they can skip most of the peril of the Darien Gap. And in any case, it's a very different phenomenon. And to see it housed so separately is quite conspicuous.
That was a little bit long, but I wanted to let it play because, see, he has seen both kinds of migration. He's seen the economic migration, but this is something different, folks. This is something different, and it's in conjunction. And listen, let's just get it out of the way. Joe Biden, President Trump calls him the Manchurian candidate. Why? Because he's compromised by China. He's compromised by China and the Belt and Road Initiative. I'll tell you one thing they've accomplished. They've got a belt wrapped around the neck of Joe Biden. There's at least one other facet that I want to cover, and I'm making good time tonight. Actually, I am. I'm proud
Another
of myself.
thing that Michael
I hope you're proud
showed
of
us, which it's maybe the most surprising thing I saw, is a bridge building project at Yavitsa, which is the town at the very end of the Pan American Highway in Darien. So there is a massive bridge being built.
Not a bamboo and vine bridge.
Oh no, this is a massive concrete and steel highway bridge being built over the Chuquenake River into the Darien.
Okay, and so the thing is, though, it's a bridge to nowhere. It'd be like building a bridge to the middle of the Amazon, the middle of nowhere, unless there was a broader, more comprehensive plan to go right through the Darien Gap and connect the Pan American Highway to make it that much easier to invade our country. And believe it or not, I'm going to close on talking about our good friends to the north in Canada, because all of this reminded me of something that I had seen. Oh, and by the way, just in time for this military age stealth combatant Chinese contingency that is joyfully participating in the invasion of our country. Just a few days ago, FBI Director Crooked Chris Wray is warning of Chinese hackers aimed to wreak havoc. Talk about leave the world behind. I mean, this is just, are we stupid, folks? I'm asking, are we as Americans stupid? Do you lock your door? Do you lock your car when you go into the grocery store or a shopping center, or when you go into work? Do you leave your car unlocked or do you lock it? Do you have a security system at your home? Doesn't it make sense to lock our doors as a country, have a security system? And so I'm on a rant. I'm going to keep going. Now, what I wanted to, this just reminded me, I guess I'll blow this up, but I remembered Ezra Levant from the end of 20, just so you know, hey, I'm still down here. I'm still talking to you. Uncovered, was able to access these files from the Canadian government. He said, wait a second, we're talking about Chinese and we're talking about Panama and we're talking about the Mexican border. Yeah, but I want you to get a better sense of who we're dealing with when we're talking about the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party. And if you can just, these were supposed to be redacted somehow. Ezra Levant of Rebel News got a hold of them. But did you know that in 2019, there were to be PLA members participating in winter survival training at CFB, Canadian Forces in Petawa. And I'm just kind of hurriedly going. I just want to show you that I have the receipts. If President Trump and the Department of Defense at that time, if they had not complained to the Canadian military, which then complained to Trudeau and his bureaucracy, they would have conducted cold weather training in the country of Canada in 2019. So, folks, the Communist Chinese Party has designs on the entire world, and the prize of prizes, the gem, is the United States. Please call your congressman. Please call your senator. Send them an email. Tell somebody about the Chinese invasion. And please understand that we have got to close this border. And when President Trump talks about, I like to emphasize that, massive deportations, folks, that is what's got to happen. We have got to close this border. This is an invasion. Where are those weapons? Where are those terrorist cells? Where are the cyber criminals? Where are this new army of Chinese combatants? Are they there to be suicide bombers? I don't think so. What are they there for? Are they literally going to pick up arms? I don't know. Or are they here to really step up the game with the stealing of trade secrets and intellectual properties and cyber criminality? Folks, that's all I got. Please share, please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment, and please pray. God's got this, but how can we pray if we don't know what we're up against? So until next time, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio, which is a border state. And God bless the United States of America. Thanks for watching.
I hear the sweet sound of freedom, and I won't be long.